Welcome back to Mighty Habits, everybody. I'm Steven, and I am so pumped for today's deep dive.
And I'm Mary. Happy to be here.
Today we're tackling a book that's kind of a big deal in the self-help world.
Oh, yeah.
The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma.
That title.
I know, right? I mean, come on, who wouldn't be intrigued by a title like that? Makes you wonder what could make someone ditch a Ferrari for, well, monk life.
Yeah, like what's the story there?
So we dug in and found out it's not really about trading your sports car for, a monastery.
Okay, good, because I wasn't planning on that.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's about rethinking what success really is.
So not just about the fancy car and the big house.
Nope. It challenges that whole idea that success is all about the external stuff.
Yeah.
Achievements, possessions, climbing the ladder.
It's so easy to get caught up in all that, though, right? Like society kind of pushes us in that direction.
Oh, absolutely. I'm guilty of it too. But this book seems to be saying, hey, slow down. Let's rethink what really matters.
Yeah, let's hit the pause button.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of how much, it's more about how well
Living a life that's true to you.
values, passions, purpose, the whole shebang.
Finding that sweet spot where you're truly content.
And I get that lots of self-help books talk about finding your purpose, but this one supposedly gives you actual tools to do it.
It lays out a path for you.
And it does it through a story.
Always more fun to learn that way.
Right. So the story follows Julian Mantle, this high-powered lawyer who seems to have it all. The career, the
A
lifestyle.
Ferrari, presumably.
Of course. But here's the twist. He's miserable.
Classic case of having it all but still feeling empty.
Totally. And then,
Yeah.
bam, heart attack.
Whoa, talk about a wake-up call.
Right. So does he, immediately quit law and become a yoga instructor or something?
Not quite. But he does go on this crazy journey. He travels to a remote Himalayan village, seeking wisdom and a new way of life.
Okay, so that's where the monk part comes in.
Exactly. He meets this group of sages who teach him these ancient secrets to living a more meaningful life.
So like a happiness boot camp in the Himalayas?
Basically. And they introduce him to these 7 virtues, each represented by a symbolic image.
Okay, lots of symbolism going on here. I'm sensing a theme.
There is. So the first one is all about mastering your mind, learning to control your thoughts and emotions instead of letting them control you.
Oh, man. That's something we can all struggle with, right? Sometimes our brains are our own worst enemies.
For real. The book emphasizes things like meditation and positive self-talk, becoming aware of your thoughts and choosing ones that empower you.
So not about ignoring negative thoughts, but replacing them with better ones.
Yeah, it's about training your mind to focus on the good, the things you can control, and the possibilities out there.
Building that mental muscle.
Exactly. The more you practice positive thinking, the stronger you become.
And that's the foundation for all the other virtues.
It is. Things like following your purpose, living in the moment, cultivating strong relationships.
Wow, a whole life makeover.
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
it all starts with that mental control.
Because our thoughts create our reality.
Powerful stuff, right?
Definitely. But before we get too deep, I want to hear from you, our listeners. What are your first impressions of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari?
Yeah. Does this idea of redefining success resonate with you?
What would you be willing to trade for a more fulfilling life?
Let us know your thoughts.
And for those of you who are intrigued by this concept of finding true success, I highly recommend checking out The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
It might just change your perspective.
And hey, if you're digging this deep dive, make sure you subscribe to Mighty Habits for more insightful discussions and tips on self-improvement.
We're here to help you unlock your potential and create a life you love.
We'll be back with more in just a bit.
This whole idea of trading external validation for internal fulfillment, it's like this book was written for the social media age.
It's so true, right? We're constantly bombarded with these perfect lives and this pressure to achieve a certain level of success.
And it's easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others, feeling like we're not enough.
Exactly. That's where this book's message of self-discovery and inner peace comes in. It's a reminder that true happiness comes from within.
It's about connecting with your authentic self, figuring out your values, and living a life that's true to who you are.
So you mentioned earlier that the book introduces these 7 virtues. We talked about mastering the mind. But what are some of the others that Julian learns from the sages?
Well, the second one is all about pursuing your purpose, discovering what you're passionate about, and using your talents to make a difference in the world.
That sounds amazing. But how do you even figure out your purpose?
Great question. The book suggests reflecting on your values, your interests, the things that bring you joy. It's like asking yourself, What am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? What kind of impact do I want to make?
So aligning your actions with your values and passions.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where you're not just working, but actually contributing something meaningful.
And that's key for long-term happiness.
It is. It's about finding work that feels like a calling, not just a job.
Okay, so we've got mastering the mind and pursuing your purpose. What's next on this self-discovery journey?
Well, the third virtue focuses on living in the present moment, letting go of regrets about the past, anxieties about the future, and embracing the now.
Easier said than done, right? Especially in today's world.
Definitely takes practice. But the book gives you some techniques for cultivating present moment awareness.
Like what?
Things like mindfulness meditation and gratitude journaling. They help you slow down, appreciate the little things, and connect with the beauty of life as it unfolds.
Instead of always chasing the next goal or dwelling on past mistakes,
Exactly. You learn to savor the present moment.
like hitting pause on autopilot.
Exactly. And when you're fully present, you experience life more deeply.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this ties into the fourth virtue, right? Self-discipline.
You got it. Self-discipline is often seen as a chore, but this book reframes it as a key to freedom and empowerment.
Okay, I'm listening. How so?
Well, it argues that when you develop self-discipline, you're able to resist those temptations and distractions that pull you away from your goals and values.
So it's not about being restrictive, but having the willpower to make choices that align with your well-being and happiness.
Precisely. It's about delaying gratification and focusing on the things that truly matter. And the book gives you tips for developing this.
What kind of tips?
Mm.
Because sticking to a plan can be tough.
Oh, I hear you. It emphasizes setting clear goals, breaking down big tasks into smaller steps, and establishing routines.
Creating structure and holding yourself accountable.
Exactly. And the book compares self-discipline to a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
So the more you resist those tempting donuts or stay focused on that project, the easier it becomes.
Exactly. And as your self-discipline grows, so does your sense of accomplishment and confidence.
Now, you mentioned 7 virtues. We've covered 4. Mastering the mind, pursuing your purpose, living in the present moment, and self-discipline. What about the other 3?
The fifth one emphasizes respecting your time, recognizing that it's your most valuable asset.
We hear time is money, but this sounds like time is even more precious.
Oh, absolutely. You can never get it back. It's the currency of life.
So how do we respect our time? Make the most of it.
The book encourages us to set priorities, eliminate distractions, learn to say no. It's about scheduling time for the things that matter most, like spending time with loved ones, pursuing your passions, taking care of yourself.
Being intentional with your time instead of letting it slip away.
Exactly. Creating a life that reflects your values and priorities. And that brings us to the 6th virtue, nurturing your relationships.
Relationships, they're the foundation of a happy life.
So true. The book reminds us that we're social creatures. We thrive on connection and belonging.
It's easy to get caught up in our own lives and neglect those relationships.
Well, it happens. The book encourages us to make time for the people we love, to express appreciation, and to build those deep connections.
So quality over quantity.
Exactly. Investing in the relationships that bring joy and support. And that leads to the final virtue, embracing the present moment and living a life of selfless service.
That sounds deep. What does that even mean?
It's about recognizing that we're all connected and that our actions impact the world around us.
Contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. Using your talents and resources to serve others and create a better world.
This final virtue seems to bring everything together.
It does. It's the culmination of all the others, leading to a life of purpose, meaning, and connection.
It's about finding that sweet spot where you're not just living for yourself, but contributing to something larger.
And that's a powerful message.
It is. It inspires us to live more consciously, more purposefully, and more joyfully. You know, as we explore these 7 virtues, I'm starting to see how this book provides a roadmap for living a truly fulfilling life.
Like a blueprint for happiness, a guide for navigating the challenges and opportunities of life with wisdom and grace.
And it's amazing how it takes these profound concepts and puts them into a story, making them relatable to everyone.
That's the power of storytelling. You learn from others' experiences and imagine new possibilities for your own life.
Now, we've covered a lot, but there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up. The power of visualization.
Ah, yes. Visualization. A technique used by athletes, entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to manifest their goals.
Exactly. And this book dedicates a whole chapter to it.
It emphasizes that our minds are incredibly powerful. By vividly imagining our desired outcomes, we can increase our chances of achieving them.
So not just wishing, but creating a mental picture as if it's already happened.
Exactly. You engage all your senses, feel the emotions, and believe with certainty that it will happen.
Like planting a seed in your mind and nurturing it with positive energy.
Great analogy. And the book suggests that consistent visualization can actually rewire your brain for success.
Wow. So it's not just some mystical thing, but a scientifically backed technique.
Precisely. And anyone can use it.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm adding visualization to my routine. But before I get lost in manifesting my dream life, I want to hear from our listeners again.
Yes. What do you think of these 7 virtues? Any that stand out to you?
Have you tried visualization or any other techniques from the book?
We'd love to hear about your experiences.
As we wrap up our deep dive into The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, I'm really struck by how it blends ancient wisdom with practical advice.
It's a powerful combo, right? The story pulls you in, and then those 7 virtues give you a real roadmap for personal growth.
And it doesn't sugarcoat things. It acknowledges that change is hard. It takes effort, discipline, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, no quick fixes here. It's a lifelong journey of learning and growth and self-discovery.
And that journey isn't always easy. There will be setbacks, doubts, and times when you want to quit. But the book reminds us that those challenges are part of the process.
They are. It's in those tough moments that you really discover your strength and resilience.
And the book gives you the tools to navigate those challenges, to overcome your limiting beliefs and create a life that aligns with your dreams.
It's about taking control, becoming the architect of your own destiny.
Creating a future filled with purpose, meaning, joy, the whole package.
Exactly.
Now we focused on the positives, but I'm curious about your take on any potential drawbacks or limitations to the book's message.
That's a good point. While the book offers a lot of wisdom, it's important to be critical with any self-help advice.
What should readers keep in mind?
Well, the focus on individual achievement and happiness could lead to a sense of isolation or detachment from societal issues.
Interesting. So it's like focusing on your own growth, but not necessarily addressing social responsibility or collective well-being.
Right. And while it encourages pursuing your passions, it doesn't fully acknowledge the systemic barriers that can make it hard for some people to achieve those dreams.
So the message might not fully resonate with everyone, especially those facing social or economic challenges.
True. It's essential to approach it with a nuanced perspective, considering your own circumstances and the complexities of the world.
But even with those caveats, I think The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari offers valuable insights and tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilling life.
Definitely. It can inspire you to question your assumptions, challenge your beliefs, and embark on a journey of self-discovery.
It reminds us that true success isn't about money or status, but about living a life aligned with your values, passions, and purpose.
Finding joy in the simple things, nurturing relationships, making a positive impact.
Realizing that we have the power to create a life, we love a life that's both successful and fulfilling.
So if you're ready to start your own journey of self-discovery, unlock your potential, and create that kind of life, we highly recommend checking out The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
It might just change your life. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe to Mighty Habits for more inspiring conversations or practical tips on personal growth.
Thanks for joining us.